Well, hey guys, welcome to another recent gaming video, and I have finally finished the Life is Strange episodic game saga. Episode 5 came out a couple of days ago, Polarized it was called, and I had a chance to sit down and play it last night, and I've had 24 hours, roughly to think about it, and I think I'm still in the same boat I was in last night, in that I'm highly disappointed in the way that this game ended. I've just by chance been looking at some of the forums and message boards for the Life is Strange GameFAQs pages, and I don't want to let other people's opinions and thoughts on it cloud my mind too much, but here's why it disappointed me. After 4 episodes of what I thought was really good storytelling, really good character development, and really just, for me, caring about these characters in this game, they ended the last one with a big reveal of who the killer was in the murder mystery that was involved in this. And, okay, I wasn't really that enthused with that, but at least they had a name and a face to that part of the story. And then they pretty much took care of that part of the story in the first half hour to an hour of this, and then it was done. And it was over. And the rest of it was spent dealing with the tornado, the storm that was coming. The storm that, I guess, because the game didn't really, in my opinion, totally explain it to me, but I guess they're blaming on Max's abuse of her rewind powers and her abilities to change the past and travel and all this and that and all the different choices that she made, even if she kind of sort of like undid some of them. The end result was this massive storm that was going to destroy Arcadia Bay. And that's what they spent what I felt to be greater than the final part of the game, or this particular episode anyway, on. It was fixing it or doing something about it, which in the end was really like, okay, the storm is there, and a lot of parts of the town are already somewhat destroyed, and you go in to the Two Whales Diner to get this picture from Warren, the picture that was taken in the previous episode that I may have mentioned in my last video. I don't remember much of what I said in that one. It was almost 3 months ago, if you can believe that shit. But I said, oh, that picture is going to be the key to her going back and changing things. It was funny, though, that she had a couple of other pictures beforehand that allowed her to go do some things, change things, and have to fix those. And I'm going to get to a complaint about that here in a minute, but she goes to the Two Whales Diner. Warren's got the picture. She uses it to go back to then. She has to change a few things there. And eventually, she and Chloe end up on the beach near the path that takes to the lighthouse because the lighthouse is out of the way of the tornado or whatever. It's funny, this thing is just sitting in the actual bay itself, and it's not moving. So how anybody knows where it's gonna go was beyond me. I'm as a tornado survivor and as a person who studied meteorology, not in school, but who wanted to do that in my life earlier years ago, a tornado's not just gonna sit there and you're not going to be able to say, oh, it's going to go that way or it's going to go that way. No, you wouldn't know that, but it's okay. It's a game, so I'm giving it some liberties there. But then it goes into this weird sequence of, like, I don't know, like a dream sequence or something. The weirdest excuse in my mind for, oh, let's actually try to create some gameplay here other than walking around, clicking on things, looking at things, and talking to people. Let's actually give you a gameplay sequence, even though they had a little bit of that in the 3rd or the 4th episode at the swimming pool when you kind of had to hide from the guards who were moving around. This like really gives you a stealth component almost, and it felt oddly out of place for this game. And like I said, at the time, I was even feeling it last night. I was like, what is going on? Why am I doing this? Why is the game pulling me away from the story? Why am I not learning more about why Mr. Jefferson did what he did? I've already established at that point in the game that Mr. Jefferson was either in one reality was shot dead by David Madsen, in another reality was arrested. Nathan was dead. Rachel really truly was dead. That was one of the things that pissed me off in this, was I really thought Rachel Amber, they never actually saw her body. They just saw what they thought was her body in the ground. I thought maybe she wasn't actually dead. Maybe there was going to be something else going on with it. I don't know. All these things were already established, and I was like, where is this game going then at this point? So anyway, you get through that whole sequence, and you discover, I guess, there was a part of my mind that I think kind of shut off last night. But I got to a point in the game where I was allowed to either sacrifice Chloe, because, okay, here's a complaint. There are a lot of time travel games, movies, TV shows, whatever, where somebody is given this ability, whether they build a time machine, whether they develop this ability within themselves. Like in this game, where Chloe has this ability, and they never explained it. Okay, I mentioned this earlier as I was playing this game and doing some of these other videos, that if they didn't explain this, I was going to be kind of pissed. If they didn't try to give me some explanation for what was going on, I was going to be upset. And they didn't. They didn't give any explanation for it. That made me very, very upset. But whether you build a time machine, you have these abilities, it's granted to you somehow or another, whatever happens, anytime you use this ability, it seems to destroy something about the true reality. Project Almanac, a movie I watched a couple months ago and I did a video for, had a whole bunch of that. Things just kept spiraling out of control because somebody would go back in time and try to change something, try to do something differently. In this one here, it seemed like every time Max would do something, trying to save Chloe, trying to do this or do that, the game was leading you to believe that ultimately this storm that was being created was caused by your use of your newfound power. And I just don't understand why somebody can't write a game, a story, a movie, or whatever about time travel that doesn't involve all that BS. The best example I can come up with for correctly using this time travel stuff would be Back to the Future. Okay, maybe scientifically it would be completely the same, but I don't think that people should have to go over the top with it. In Back to the Future, a few mistakes were made, and all of a sudden it looked like Marty was not going to be alive, or his family, his siblings, whatever. But it wasn't like the whole entire world was just going to fall apart. Yes, if Biff Tannen got his money, his riches through the using the sports almanac, he become kind of like the greedy slumlord dictator or whatever over the town. But it wasn't like the planet was going to crack in half because of something like that. And you fix something, all of a sudden Marty's back in the picture and his family is back there, and even at one point his life seems to be a little bit better than it would have been otherwise. But why the fucking apocalyptic bullshit in these things? Max tries to save her friend. That's a noble fucking idea. There doesn't have to be death or destiny or God or whatever saying, oh, no, you've changed, you've went against my plan. My plan was that person was going to die, and you saved them from dying, so I'm going to be coming after them or even you until somebody dies. Fuck that. That's so stupid. I think that's just utterly ridiculous. That's a horrible, convoluted way to try to create exaggerated tension that doesn't have to be there. The scenario in the earlier episode where Chloe ended up in the wheelchair instead of her dad dying in the car accident, I thought it was really weird at the time, but now I would beg for them to go with such simpler concepts like that than Chloe or Max like getting these nosebleeds. Like it looked like her head was just going to explode on one of her time travel trips, or the tornado that's going to destroy Arcadia Bay. And speaking of that, I think I kind of got off the path of where I was going, but at the end of this game, essentially you're given the choice of sacrifice Chloe to appease the time travel gods or the Grim Reaper or whatever, and stop the madness, I guess, or sacrifice Arcadia Bay. And I didn't know it at the time. That was the choice I made. That was my final decision. Sacrifice Arcadia Bay and keep Chloe alive, because in my mind, I was resistant to it through pretty much the entirety of the game until I got to this one. But whether they're the bestest of friends or whether they have a relationship, I wanted those two to be together at the end. I didn't want to sacrifice Chloe to stop some stupid douchebag tornado from destroying Arcadia Bay. See, the game gives you a lot of storyline on Arcadia Bay and says this is a shit town. Things are going bad for it. The Prescott family is corrupt and there's all kinds of issues. And here's another little nitpick. There was a whole bunch of seeds thrown out there that made it sound like the Prescott family had something going on. Not just we're a rich family and you've got to live up to your potential, Nathan. And he felt a lot of pressure and he collapsed under that pressure. It was like there was something maybe almost even supernatural going on with this family. And guess what? They didn't do anything about that. They didn't address it whatsoever in the end of this game. Like I said, and for my game, Nathan Prescott was dead. He was killed by Jefferson. And his family was under investigation for their corruption in the city, but no talk about whatever all this mystical, almost sounding backstory had been laid out before. That just pissed me off so much. There was a whole bunch of little storyline things that were just left behind in this last video. Not the least of which is, why could Max do what she did? And what happened to Max and Chloe after they left town? Because after that happened, the tornado swept through the town, it's destroyed, but like with any kind of a storm, not everything is gone, not everybody's dead. But I felt like the storm, the tornado or whatever, it was the best chance for Arcadia Bay to have some sort of cleansing. And yes, people were going to die, and I understand that. But I didn't see any point in saying, okay, destiny or fate or whatever you are that says that you just have to kill Chloe and all will be right with the world. Here she is, and now we'll have a wonderful Arcadia Bay and a wonderful future. No, I wasn't going to give in to that bogus crap, that stupid, like, I can't even think of the term I'm trying to come up with here. Just a facsimile, I guess, of a real dire situation where you have to make a big decision or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I'm really put off by this. I was really upset with everything about it. I don't know what the ending would be like if I chose the other way. I don't know if I can go back to that without having to replay the whole entire episode, and I'm not going to do it. Like I said, big time let down by this final thing. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I know there were some people on the Life is Strange Facebook page or whatever that were like, Season 2, give us a Season 2. I don't want to see a Season 2. I think the story has already been told. Like I said before, at this point, if Max tries to use her abilities anymore, her head's gonna explode. She's gonna have fucking cancer. Something bad is going to happen. So I don't want to see anything else that involves them. If they wanted to come out with some sort of a short little CG story or like a trailer or something, a 15-20 minute thing, and kind of say, here's what's happening, whatever. That's if the company behind the game, Don't Nod Entertainment, that's if they even want to say that the sacrificing Arcadia Bay is the canon ending. I assume they probably would steer it towards sacrificing Chloe as being the canon ending, and then you would just have Max. So what would you do with just Max? Max's time traveling adventures. Like I said, we've already established that if she does the time traveling stuff and changes things, she's probably going to have an aneurysm and the entire world is going to explode. So they kind of wrote themselves out of a season 2 unless they want to cover some other people who have these abilities and they want to give some backstory into how it happened. But I think you're just stretching things. You're stretching things to a point where they're just going to snap. So Life is Strange ended on a down note for me. Really upset with the way that they went with it because everything else up to this point had been really interesting and I was really into, and then they just didn't. They left too many things unanswered for my taste. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Life is Strange Episode 5, Polarized, that I played on the Xbox 360. At least I completed another game this year, and I just wish it would have been better. So I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.